Some breaking news here that is evidence of such rampant corruption. In any normal world, it would dominate headlines for weeks. Donald Trump is poised to accept a $400 million gift from Qatar in the form of a luxury Boeing 747 jumbo jet, a plane so opulent it's known as a palace in the sky. And the kicker? After using it as Air Force One during his presidency, ownership is going to be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation before he leaves office. Simply put, a foreign government is giving the President of the United States a personal gift worth $400 million. This isn't some state gift that's going to remain government property. This is a gift that will ultimately become Donald Trump's personal property through his Presidential Library Foundation. This is quite literally the definition of foreign influence buying. And the timing here could not be more perfect, because it was just days ago that Donald Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, had a full-blown fainting spell at the prospect of Donald Trump doing anything for his own personal benefit.
I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit. He left a life of luxury and a life of running a very successful real estate empire for public service, not just once, but twice. And again, the American public reelected him back to this White House because they trust he acts in the best interest of our country and putting the American public first. This is a president who has actually lost money for being president of the United States. I don't remember these same type of questions being asked of my predecessor about a career politician who was clearly profiting off of this office. That is not what President Trump does, and this White House holds ourselves to the highest of ethical standards.
Quote, I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit. Those were her exact words. Who wants to tell Leavitt that accepting a $400 million luxury jet from a foreign government that will eventually become your boss's personal property is the definition of doing something for his own personal benefit? And this isn't just any foreign government. This is Qatar, the same Qatar that has massive investments throughout the Middle East, the same Qatar that happens to be locked in intense competition with Saudi Arabia for influence in the region, the same Qatar that's going to be hosting Donald Trump next week for his first foreign visit of his second term, where his gift will officially be announced. But hey, I'm sure a $400 million plane to the President of the United States is not going to have any impact whatsoever. And so now, the White House and the Justice Department are scrambling to explain why this somehow doesn't violate the Constitution's Emoluments Clause, which explicitly prohibits U.S. officials from accepting gifts from any king, prince, or foreign state. And their creative legal workaround, they're claiming it's totally fine because this gift is technically going to the Air Force first and then later to Trump's presidential library, not directly to Trump himself. See, as long as you can find a completely transparent loophole on tenuous at best legal ground, then you're A-OK. The dangerous part is that the bulwark against this kind of corruption is the Department of Justice. And yet, Attorney General Pam Bondi, herself a Trump loyalist who previously took campaign contributions from Donald Trump while deciding whether to investigate Trump University, surprise, surprise, she decided not to pursue charges, has conveniently decided that this arrangement is legally permissible. How about that? The lawyer who Trump himself paid off thinks it's fine for Donald Trump to accept money himself. Phew. This is the kind of transparently absurd legal rationale that would get laughed out of any first-year law school class. The Emoluments Clause exists precisely to prevent foreign governments from purchasing influence from American officials. The technical ownership structure does not change the fact that Qatar is giving a $400 million asset that will ultimately benefit Trump personally. And this isn't happening in isolation. Trump's cryptocurrency scheme has been revealed to be overwhelmingly purchased by foreign buyers. According to financial analysis, foreign investors have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into Trump's digital coins, meaning into his personal pocket. Yet another avenue for foreign governments and interests to funnel money directly to Donald Trump. And this has been a long-standing philosophy for the guy. Here's Jamie Raskin back in 2023 laying out Trump's overt corruption in a way that frankly seems quaint today.
During the Trump administration, we saw the development of a completely new public philosophy, which is that government is not an instrument of the common good and the public interest. Government is an instrument for private self-enrichment, for the guy who gets in, for his family, for his private businesses. And that's a model that we're seeing all over the world.
But you don't approve of that model, obviously.
I do not.
You denounced that model.
That's what Putin is doing.
Trump, yeah.
That's what Orban is doing. That's what Marcos is doing. That's what El Sisi is doing. That's what
it's been going on since the dawn of mankind.
Well, but it's new for America that somebody would get in and basically just say, everything is corrupt and I'm just as corrupt as the next guy and I'm going to take money, as Trump did, from China, from Saudi Arabia, from the United Arab Emirates. I mean, look, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, pocketed a cool $2 billion
from Saudi Arabia.
From Saudi Arabia,
and
in a corporation
he had the Saudi portfolio in the White House.
Just imagine, and I know that this requires just a little bit of creative thinking, but imagine for a moment that President Barack Obama had accepted a $400 million private jet from Qatar that would eventually become his personal property. Try and think about what primetime on Fox would look like. Imagine Hannity and Judge Jeanine. Congressional Republicans would have launched an impeachment proceeding before the plane even landed in the United States. Marjorie Taylor Greene would have held a stakeout at Andrews Air Base. And frankly, she'd be right to. But because it's Donald Trump, well, his corruption is just baked into the cake. Rules for thee, not for me. This is crony capitalism at its absolute worst. The President of the United States is quite literally selling access and influence to the highest bidder. Qatar isn't giving a $400 million jet out of the goodness of their hearts. They expect something in return. That is how transactional relationships work. And nobody understands transactional relationships better than Donald Trump. And by the way, the risks here are enormous. Do we want American foreign policy determined by which country gives the president the shiniest toys? Do we want critical decisions about the Middle East peace, military deployments, or trade agreements influenced by which foreign government has transferred the most valuable assets to the president's personal foundation? And what exactly is Qatar buying with this $400 million gift? Access, influence, favorable trade terms, military protection? We don't know, and that is precisely the problem. When foreign governments can simply purchase the president's favor with luxury gifts like a plane, American interests take a backseat to the president's personal enrichment. The Constitution's framers included the Emoluments Clause specifically because they understood the danger of foreign influence. They knew that gifts from foreign powers could compromise the independence of American officials and undermine our national interest. Donald Trump's willingness to accept this gift shows a complete disregard for these fundamental principles. So, the next time Carolyn Leavitt stands at that podium and claims with a straight face that it's ridiculous to suggest that Donald Trump would ever do anything for his own benefit, remember this $400 million palace in the sky that Qatar is giving him. Remember the cryptocurrency schemes dominated by foreign buyers. Remember the pattern of using the presidency to enrich himself at every turn. This is not normal, this is not ethical, and despite the contortions of Donald Trump's lawyers, it certainly isn't legal. But in Trump's America, the rules only apply to everybody else, never to him. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.